Hi. So today I'm going to show you how to set up a backup of your WordPress site to Amazon S3 using a secure connection so that data is not available to anybody else. So first we're going to go to aws.amazon.com. If you do not have an account, you can set one up for free. You have a free year on tier 1, and even after that free year is over, you still will pay very little. I've been billed twice for my S3 backups, and we're talking pennies. So it's not a big expense. It's definitely worth it to have your own backup. So since I already have an account, we'll just go over here to Management Console. If you don't, just click on the Create an AWS account, fill out the settings. It's very easy. Use my root user account. So I have LastPass, so my account's in here. Again, put in my password, sign in. All right, so we have our console, and we're going to go ahead and create an S3 bucket. Now I already have them, but we'll go ahead and create an S3 bucket, and we'll create a user that has access to that bucket. So you go over to S3, and you see I already have some buckets, but we'll create one anyways. And I will create a bucket. And so you have to give it a fairly unique name. So RSH WP backup dash test. And it'll only allow characters that would be allowable in a domain name. I don't need that, so we can go next. So you can do versioning. Again, now some of these things will raise up your prices. So if you want to keep all versions of all objects, so that means if you make a change, it'll keep it, and then it'll keep the next one, the next one, the next one. We're doing backups. There's not going to be versioning, so I don't need to worry about that. We're actually the backup software will use all of will do all the file management for me. So, so need any of these settings. They're all for more advanced uses. This is a pretty basic usage. We don't want to block all public access. But we're not going to grant any rights. To acknowledge. But just because you do this doesn't mean people are going to be able to access it. Just means that I am accessing it from the outside, and they still need to be able to have the correct key information to access it. So we create our bucket. You see, it's my bucket. Now we're going to go over and create the user that the software is going to use to upload it. Now that's under Security, Identity, and Compliance. It's called IAM. So we're going to click on this. All right, so you already got some users. So we'll just click here. So we're going to create a new user. We're going to add a user. RSH backup test. So it's going to have an access. So it's going to be programmatic access. It means it's going to be using an access key and secret key to access the AWS versus logging in like I'm doing right now. This is me logged in. So we'll go to permissions. So we're going to attach an existing policy. See, I've already created a policy, so we could do that, but if we just go S3, So you can see we can give it all kinds of different ones. We're going to give it that. Again, I've got this one. I created it. We could use that instead. But it's pretty much the same. So give it, except this is actually limited to specific buckets. I'm not going to go through that. This is just fairly straightforward. We're not going to be need anything specialized. This is very easy and it's still very secure. Don't need any tags. We've given it a name. If you were to like give it some weird names, you might want to tag it. All right. So we're going to create the user. So we have our access key, which we need. I'm going to go copy and paste that over to a notepad file. And I need my secret access key. This is the password. And I'm showing this to you because this will be gone before you ever see this video. So I don't mind that. Incidentally, you can go in and delete them later on. So I can go in and change the access key. So like I go here and I can look at security credentials and I can make this inactive and create a new set of keys. So that's why I don't mind showing this to you for this demo. They won't be active by the time the video is posted. All right, so that's what we need to do to access to set up the S3. We need to know the name of the bucket. And I'll go copy paste that because I forgot to. But it was a pretty straightforward name. But you know the name of the bucket. You need to know the region, and you need to know that information. So S3 doesn't, so that's your region. I don't remember who to ask that, but it might. S3 exists in regions, but not availability zones. You might need to know the name of the region, so copy that out. All right, so we've got everything we need from Amazon, and now we're going to go over to the WordPress site, install the plugin, and set it up to do automated backups for us. Okay, here we are with a demo WordPress website, brand new install, nothing on it yet. So, first two things I always do when I'm setting up a new site is I turn on security and I set up backups. And this is my Norton Security plugin that is going to drive me nuts. So we're going to turn it off. All right, first things I do. So security, I'll go by this real quick. I've got a separate video on this on WordPress. But this is what I use. I'm not going to go through all the different settings. Just go through the baseline and let it install everything. Activate it. Come down here to security, go to settings. It's going to want to run its wizard. Enable. This means it's going to go out to the internet when it does it. Secure. We don't want to do that because we don't have HTTPS enabled. But you want to activate brute force. So it's going to run. This is going to create an error, but for a site, I have free SSL. I'm just because it's a demo site, I'm not bothering with it. It'll be gone before this video is posted, so it's not really a big deal for this. So I'm not going to worry about that. But that's basically it. You just run through. There's some other customized settings I would normally go to, but I'm not going to worry about it. But yes, if you have the SSL, you should definitely enable this and force everything to SSL. All right, so now we'll go to backups. Again, this is not This is not as customized as I would normally do it for security, um, but this is way better than having nothing at all. So even if you don't understand all the settings I go through on my other video, then by all means, just do this part and you will be way better off than most sites. All right, so the next one is called Updraft. This is a free plugin and it will back it up automated to Amazon S3. And I choose Amazon S3. They will back up to Dropbox. They will back up to Google Drive. I don't know if the free version does that. It might, but I've never used those. Amazon S3 is much more reliable, much more robust, and it's pennies. It's pennies a month at most. So thanks, I knew that. So it's actually under settings and UpdraftPlus backups. So we're going to go to settings, and we're going to have it back up weekly is what I usually do. If you're doing a lot of updates, you might choose daily or even more often, depending on, especially when you're building out your site first. You might want daily because you're making changes all the time. Weekly, every 2 weeks, or then monthly. So if the site is just static and just never going to change, you can do monthly. Because that'll also catch, updates to the WordPress site and that kind of thing. So you should be more current. And then you set the number of backups that it'll retain. So with this way it's configured is it'll run a backup as soon as I'm done here now, and then it will run another one next week at this time. And then a week later it'll run a third backup, but the backup it makes today will be deleted. You can set this as high as you want. Again, it's your storage costs. It's pretty rare to need to go back to 2. Obviously, if something happens, your site becomes corrupted, you don't notice it, and you go through 2 backups with it corrupted, you're obviously not going to be able to recover it from one of your backups if you only have 2 backups. So that's kind of the thought process here. I use Uptime Robot to tell me about site stuff. There's some other tools that are even a little better than that. So that can let you, keep your monitoring up. All right, so we're going to back up to Amazon S3. So here it's asking. So you're going to put in your access key that we created earlier. And you're going to put in your secret key that we created earlier. And you're going to put in your bucket. And you're going to put in your bucket. And you're going to test. So succeed. We've accessed the bucket and able to create a file within it. So now we have created a secure backup to S3. We've done a test anyway. So we want to save the changes, and it'll actually automatically go do a backup now, or we could force it even quicker and just click that, and it'll do all this. So what it does is it'll create a backup locally, and then it will also upload it to the remote storage. So it'll tell you this. I'm not going to bore you with this. This just pretty standard stuff. It'll eventually back up. You'll see right down here. Oh, well, there you go. Well, it's pretty small, so that makes sense. All right. So you got everything's backed up here. You can do a restore from this. Obviously, if the WordPress site is corrupt, it'll be a more manual restore, but you'll have all the files and the database. You need to do your restore job. If it's just, a bunch of pages got messed up or a plugin update, you might be able to go in and restore it here. So that's it. That's what I do. I use S3. One of the nice things about S3 is uploads don't cost anything, so I can upload as often as I want. So I could literally make this daily, and as long as I keep the number of backups it stores down, I mean, well, even hourly, as long as I keep the number of backups it stores down to a small number, um, it doesn't cost me anymore. So, I mean, I could literally back up every 2 hours, and it's going to cost me the same as if I back it up weekly, as long as I'm only keeping 2 updates. They charge you when you download. So if we were to download, if we were to need to do restore, then that's when it would do it. So that's how we set up backups. Pretty straightforward. Go to your Amazon, get a free Amazon S3 account if you don't have one. Set up all your sites to backup, because sometimes your host fails too, and you want another option. So thanks for taking the time to watch the video. Have a nice day.